All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about data as an asset. So welcome to this Aspire presentation here, this session. We're going to be talking all about data and creating an analytics platform. So everyone's on a different point in this journey, and we'll kind of get into that and why it might be beneficial for you to think about your data in a different way and how you might use that data. So let me introduce myself. My name is Aaron Moon, and I am a manager on our data platform services team here at Velosio. And our team is focused on everything to do with data, with optimizing process, and really trying to help our clients make use of their data, turn that data into information that can help you make decisions and really help to transform your business and push you forward. And so today we're going to be talking about some reasons why you might want to consider creating an analytics platform. We'll talk a little bit about kind of where we see a lot of clients today, and then some recommendations that we think that you will want to tune in for and start to think about. I do have with me today my colleague Jeff Hoffman. He's going to be doing a little bit of a demo later on. So if you'd like to see kind of the hands-on, then tune in for that. Wait for that. I am going to start off with kind of some presentation here, just some PowerPoint slides to get some concepts across that we think are kind of helpful in this story. So let me advance my slide deck here. And let's jump in. So, we're working with clients every day and talking about the data that they have and how they're trying to do reporting and make decisions that are going to move their business forward. And we're oftentimes seeing that the clients just don't have the information they need. It takes a lot of time and effort to turn the data that they have into insights. And so many decisions just aren't made with high fidelity. It's a large effort to compile data and turn that into something that's understandable, that can be used as true information. A lot of times we see a lot of this effort's happening offline. I've got this Excel file over here, and so-and-so has another file, and so we're kind of doing these things in silos and offline. And this results in what we call elusive facts. Maybe I'm saying the numbers say this, but someone else over here is saying, well, I got a different number when I did that calculation. And so that's, really something that can be hard to overcome when you're trying to make a decision. The other thing that can happen is it might just arrive too late. We're compiling data, we're trying to analyze what we have, but we're getting that too late in the process, and we can't affect the outcome. It's only really explaining what's already happened. We just have the data that we can look back on and kind of see, oh, yeah, okay, we see what happened, but it's too bad that we didn't have it in the moment, and then we couldn't see the trend and make a change in the moment. What causes some of those things? The first thing that we see is that most of the time we have disconnected systems. You're going to have an ERP system, a financial system. You'll have a CRM system. You might have a warehousing system. You might have 3 or 4 other systems that are critical to your business. They're all collecting data from different places, from different inputs. And oftentimes when you're looking to answer a question, to make a decision, you need to pull data from multiple systems. You've got to pull that together, and it's really kind of stranded in these silos and these disconnected systems, and you need to synthesize it and turn it into information. And without a structured data platform, this, again, often causes these offline data marts in tools like Excel. And it means that business rules and integration, pulling that data together, are often created incorrectly and are often time consuming to maintain because you're doing this multiple times. You're pulling the data because you want to answer this particular question. You're applying the business rules and things to that data. And then you're going to go and do it again, right? And to solve the next question. And that's just, it causes a lot of rework in many ways. The second issue that we see, is when you're asking one of those questions, you want to get an answer that you need. You go to your IT team, your reporting team, or maybe an external consultant, and you ask them to create a report. You ask them to create a dashboard that can answer the question, right? I'd like to know this. And they work on it and they send something back to you that provides an answer, right? But often that then leads to another question. You get that report or that dashboard and you're like, oh, okay, that might answer my question, but what about this? It leads to that next thing, or maybe there's some ambiguity in the answer that you got. And so what you have to do is you have to go back to them and you have to say, hey, what about this? And then they, spend another week and they build another report. And so in the absence of being able to really ad hoc, slice and dice, kind of get the answer yourself, you have to wait this week long, maybe 2 week long, you have to wait this cycle to get the answer that you need. And then that just produces another question. And so really, you end up with these reports that have been built, but they carry with them confusion and technical debt. And really what that means is that you often end up working for your data rather than with your data. And so this is the problem that we're trying to solve for. And so we think that there are really three primary things that you should consider as you're trying to solve for this problem and move away from a less structured reporting environment into a more structured kind of analytical platform. And that's really the value that we want to try to get across today. So these three things. The first is to spend where it matters. So don't boil the ocean. We want to spend our money where we think it's really going to provide some ROI, right? Some high value decision areas that's going to make an impact. And so when you're trying to build a more structured environment, you want to start at the right place, and you don't want to try to do everything all at once. The other thing is that you need to really understand your users. So the different, business users and groups are going to need different things. Your rank and file users are just trying to do their day-to-day job, and they might need some data or report to do that. But then your leadership is going to have a different requirement, right? They're going to want higher level kind of views of that. And so you need to understand the assets that each user group needs. And then, when we get to really enabling true analysis, that's saying, can we enable the ability for ad hoc reporting? Can we make it easy to just get access to the data, slice and dice it in meaningful ways to answer a question and reduce that cycle of asking a question and getting a report back after some time, So how do we really enable that true analysis? And Jeff is going to show a demo here in a little bit of what that might look like in a real world scenario. So let's break these down a little bit farther. So we want to talk about, when deciding where to spend your money, we take a structured approach to this. We want to come alongside you and help you make that decision. And the first step is really to identify the value-rich functional areas, these areas that contain your most important decisions that really going to affect your business and put it into high gear, right? And so we go through a process of evaluating those decisions and valuing them to translate that decision into a dollar impact, because we want to understand where can we invest that's really going to have an impact. And so we pair that up, that inventory and the value, with identifying any gaps. Oftentimes there are gaps in your business where, maybe you're working on upgrading a legacy system. You've got something that's worked, but that you've got to transition it into something more that will enable you to collect more data. Oftentimes you might not even have the data that you need to make a decision. We don't collect it today, and that's a gap that you can work on and you can plan for. But when we're looking at what to invest in today and kind of building a roadmap, we want to identify those high value decisions that are available for us right now. And it looks like my camera stopped working. So we'll go back on. Okay, jump back into this. So, not every user is created equal. And when you're trying to understand where to spend your money, we also need to understand what our users are going to need. And so, they have something that they're trying to do, and then they're going to have something that they're going to need from your data. And so as we kind of break this down, typically you have your rank and file. And these are your individuals that are doing daily tasks. They're focused on their job, what they're doing that day, and they might need some reports, some data that's going to help them be able to do that. And so these are typically pretty kind of static, maybe very detailed, formatted reports that they're going to be looking for. Now, on the other side of the equation, at the top of the pyramid, we have leadership. And leadership does need reports, but they also might need reports and scorecards, and they're looking at the data much differently, right? They're looking at a high level. They're trying to look for trends and look for opportunities. And typically those leaders, when they identify a problem, identify an opportunity, they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to ask others to pursue kind of a detailed analysis and help determine what to do, right? Provide us some more information so that we can make a decision. And this really leads to what we call the kind of the skinny middle of the organization, which is the data analysts. And these data analysts are the ones that live in the data day in and day out, right? They're using Excel, they're creating pivot charts and pivot tables and slicing and dicing the data and really trying to provide the information to those who are then going to make a decision, right? And these data analysts really require a robust tabular model that allows them to do ad hoc analysis, right? This is really where we see this kind of reporting environment starting to show kind of the positives, the benefits, is that these data analysts need something that they can quickly connect to and get the data and determine something, right? To pull it out and then provide that back to whoever might need it. And so that environment really needs to be business readable and have kind of those integration things and the business rule components already done, right? We don't want to have that same problem of connecting and rebuilding like we did when we talked about that cycle of getting a new report and asking a question. So what do we mean when we say building an analytical reporting environment? And I want to just kind of break that down for you now, and hopefully without using too many acronyms, just kind of talk through the different types of solutions that we think can provide value. And the first step in any type of solution like this is to ingest data from the transactional systems that we have. And this might be things like Microsoft, Dynamics, business applications. It could be Salesforce, anything like that. It could also be kind of third-party solutions. Anything that's going to have be generating data that's important to your business. And so we need to pull this data in, and we often land it in a single place. This is kind of a common thing as you're starting to build a reporting environment, is to land that data in a single place. But the one thing that we typically see with customers is that often the data is raw, right? It's coming in direct from the source, and it's in a raw format. And what a lot of customers, clients of ours, do is that they then just directly connect with whatever reporting tool they may be comfortable with. And so that an example of that might be Power BI, where Power BI is a very flexible tool. It can connect to the data and pull it in, and then you can build a report, and you can build in the different logic that you need, like the business rules, to make that report show the right data for whoever's going to be looking at it. So you can have that business logic and the security kind of built in there. And this can be very useful. It allows you to get to the data quickly and produce a report. But there are challenges that we've talked about, right? Without having kind of a centralized data platform, kind of the centralized tabular model, what you're going to end up having is inconsistencies. Because as you build report by report by report, you're building in the business logic and the integrations kind of within this reporting layer, and you're having to pull it together every single time. And a new report is a technical task. It's called the IT team or pay a consultant. And so what we're trying to do is help to remove some of that time. And so our suggestion to you is that you should consider thinking about building what we call a tabular model. And for those of you that are familiar with OLAP cubes of the past, this is very similar. It's a multidimensional structure. It allows, slicing and dicing of the data. Some of the key attributes of a tabular model is that we can centralize the business logic. So we're going to do the work here to manipulate the data into something that makes sense to the business, right? It's not going to be in that raw format from the data source. We're going to remove the things we don't need and maybe kind of work on that business logic to calculate the right things. And a part of that is we can work on performance. So we can make sure that only the data that we need is here, right? So that when we're connecting reports, it can be optimized for that. And, we can make sure that we're layering in security here at this point and saying, let's take out things that shouldn't be there, that we want to make sure that we have the appropriate permissions around. And finally, I guess the last really piece of this is building that business readable portion, the measures and dimensions that a data analyst, someone who's building a report, can connect to, and they're going to understand. They're just going to be able to use this and understand what it means from a business perspective. So those are some of the attributes that we see of a tabular model that are really helpful. And what this means is that once you have a model like this, then you can very easily create those reports and dashboards that previously might have taken a week or two. You can just connect to this tabular model and the data's there. It's in the right format. It's ready to go. The other thing that you can do is that you can connect with other tools for ad hoc analysis. So if you're a data analyst, you can connect with your tool of choice. Maybe it's Excel, and you can really begin to just slice and dice the data right away. So I've really talked a lot about kind of what this might mean and kind of where we see where clients are today and then where we think you might want to go. But to kind of help make this reality to you, I want to introduce you to Jeff Hoffman, who's a consultant on our team, and he's going to walk you through a demonstration of what a tabular model like this might look like in real life. So Jeff, take it away.
Thank you, Aaron, and appreciate everybody tuning in today. I get the fun. I get to do the fun part. Aaron got to tell you about a tabular model. I get to show you a tabular model, and I'm going to start from the perspective of a dashboard, right, and from the persona of an executive. And we're using AdventureWorks bikes. We're selling bikes, and we're at the end of in the fall of 2022. That's what our data tells us. And I've got a Power BI dashboard that I actually built on top of a tabular model, and instead of taking a week to do it, it took me an hour or so because I had that all those integrations and all those business rules built into the tabular model by somebody who is good at programming. And I haven't programmed since the Berlin Wall was up, but I'm able to very, very quickly build a dashboard. And so let's just dive into this story, though, this story of that the data tells us. Again, we're at the end of October, and we see that our margins are increasing. That's good news. I see that but I see that my gross sales are tailing off into the fall, and especially in October. And I can click and tell that the main thing that matters is bikes, right? And the main geography that matters is the United States. And as I click through my geographies, I can see that the gross sales is staying steady in or even going up in all those geographies except the one that matters, the United States. And because I'm in the dashboard, there's only so much I can do. There's only so much flexibility that I have. And so then I'm going to shift into analyst mode and really, dive into the data. And I want to do this I'm going to switch to Excel for two reasons. Number one, I want to, help you understand that Excel can really be used as an analytic tool given a good tabular model that lives in the cloud. And the second is you'll be able to see what a tabular model really is as we slice and dice it. It's a little hard to tell when you're looking at a dashboard, but in Excel, you can see the details. So it's really made up of two things. The measures, those are the components that you add and average and multiply. And then you have the dimensions. And I'm sorry, the measures have a little sigma sign in front of them. And then the dimensions are these other items that they boil down to the attributes and the hierarchies by which you slice and dice the measures. There's more to it than that, but instead of telling you about it, I'm going to show you. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on gross sales, and you'll see it'll drop down into the values and show up in my pivot table. And by the way, I have a pivot table attached to my tabular model. It's important to know that none of the data is on my desktop. It's all out in the cloud in this tabular model, and it refreshed on a regular basis. And I don't have to do any work. I just pointed at the tabular model, and I can slice and dice. And so none of the problems of bringing data offline into Excel are encountered. Next thing I'm going to do is take my date hierarchy, and I'm going to drag that up into my filters. And because I have a hierarchy already built, I can just kind of drill through the point in the hierarchy that I want to analyze and select it. And then similarly, I have a geographic hierarchy, so I can see how my sales break down through the countries, and then in the United States down into the states, and all the way down into localities. But I'm going to keep it a little more high level than that. I'm going to drag my months attribute from my date hierarchy into my columns, and then I'm going to see a detailed breakdown of all of my geographies across the year of 2022. Ending in October, where I'm at right now. I can kind of confirm that the same thing I saw on that dashboard, that things are tailing off into October, and the United States is really the only thing that matters. But a question occurs to me, especially as I'm selling bikes and it's fall. I'm wondering if this happens every year, right? Is this just a seasonality thing? And so we have a dimension that we call time intelligence that I can drag up into the filters. And anybody that has built a report or used a report, but certainly those that have built it, remember recognize these favorites. So we've got current year, prior year, year over year percentage, month to date, et cetera. Right? Usually when you're building reports or dashboards, you have to choose which measures you build that kind of intelligence into, and then you hand code it, right? Because we've built a time intelligence or time calculation dimension, we're able to use those calculations on any metric that shows up in any measure that shows up in our tabular model. So I'm going to select year over year percentage, click OK, and you'll see that I still have gross sales down in the values, but now I'm looking at my year over year percentage, and I can see that as I dive into October, that my gross sales is doing a lot worse than it did last year. So I eliminate from my analysis the idea that it's a seasonal problem, and I realize that I have a problem in 2022 that I've got to figure out what's going on. So I know that that my the only country that really matters is the United States. And again, a moment ago, a few moments ago, Aaron was talking about the reporting treadmill and getting an answer and then asking another question. I think that's what we're experiencing right now. I know my problems in the United States, but I have some questions about what things look like from a product perspective. So I drag those that hierarchy into my rows in my pivot table tool, and I'm able to drill through and I can very easily see that bikes are the only thing that matters. I can drill all the way through my bike hierarchy down to my individual bikes, but at the question I really wanted to ask of the data is, is there a particular bike line that is sucking wind, or is it a problem across the board? And I see that all of my bike lines are experiencing problems as we go from September into October, and so I really need to figure out what's going on across the board. So again, I have an answer. I'm going to ask another question, and going to drill into select bikes as a filter, and I'm going to drag my months down into my rows, and I'm going to look at my channels. So we sell into two channels: the internet, direct to consumers, and we sell to bike stores, which we call resellers. And you'll see that my direct-to-consumer channel is doing great, right? We're actually increasing our sales in the direct-to-consumer channel, but the reseller channel is sucking wind, and I need to figure out why, right? This is a big problem. Often when I'm dealing with channel issues, it boils down to marketing. So let's again select a more detailed view, and let's take a look at promotions. And I'm going to drag my promotion types up into my columns, and so now I've got a whole different data set from a different transaction system in the background, and I'm able to bring that in all without doing any integration. And I can see that my volume discounts have been cut off, right? And I think back to our last town hall when the CEO was pounding his fist on the table saying we had to improve our gross margins. And I'm wondering if my marketing team is improving gross margins at the risk of reducing sales. So I'm going to dive into this a little bit more, and I'm going to remove my promotion type. I'm going to remove gross sales, and I'm going to take a look at my scroll back up to my measures, and I'm going to look at my margin percentage and see what that looks like. And I'm going to drag my channels back down and see what it looks like by channel. And I can see, this shows me what I saw on that dashboard, and my gross margin's going up, but staying pretty steady for each of my channels, and that makes me think about my channel mix, right? And so I'm going to drag my net revenue percentage over to my values and see that alongside my margin percentages, and I can see that my typical scenario is that my resellers the biggest part of my business, and the internet is a smaller part, and my reseller gross margins are lower than my internet, but the increase into 30% gross margin is really driven by the fact that my sales in the reseller channel are sucking wind, and my percentages have flopped on that channel mix. And so really don't quite know whether that's a good thing or not yet. I have a hunch it's not, but if I drag my actually margin dollars down into the values, I can then see that my margin dollars are doing great on the internet, but it's cratering in the reseller. And again, because I've changed my marketing strategy and have cut off my resellers from their volume discounts, and most importantly, over here on the right hand side, my total margin is tanking as well as my gross revenue is, and so that's going to hit the EBITDA line. Nobody's going to be happy with that, even if we are hitting a high degree of margin percentage. So again, we started at a really high level with our dashboard, and we from that dashboard, which was built on the same tabular model and was using the same facts, we were able to see certain things and get some visuals of the fact that we had a problem. But then when I dove into my my tabular model using the ad hoc tool of Excel to slice and dice that tabular model, I'm able to ask question after question after question. I don't have to be a programmer to do it. And I'm using a business readable tabular model that refreshes on a near real time basis, and it becomes a game changer. And I can quickly get ahead. I don't have to wait for the November results to draw conclusions. I don't have to wait till new dashboards are created, but I can take action based upon the intelligence that I've gained from this data. So hopefully that gives you an idea of two things. Number one, the different tools that you can use to do different kinds of analysis, but most importantly, helps you value a well-crafted tabular model that sits in the cloud and allows you to build dashboards quickly and do ad hoc analysis with high fidelity. Back to you, Aaron.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. All right. So let's just do a little quick review again and highlight some of those things that Jeff just talked about. So a analytics platform, a reporting environment with a tabular model like Jeff just showed is going to have some key benefits here for you. So you can really support decisions with information. You don't have to kind of try to pull together something to understand what happened. But if you're proactive in putting together something like what Jeff showed, you can have those reports and dashboards that you need, day to day. But then when you need to really understand the details, you can move into something like Excel and do ad hoc analysis. And so you'll have this, single version of the truth, tabular model that will help you get to value quicker, shorter time to value to build new reports as well as do that ad hoc analysis. So hopefully walking through this today has, you've learned something. Everyone's on a different point in this journey. We would, really like for if you would be interested in meeting with us, talking with your colleagues about kind of where you are in this journey and evaluate it. Discuss kind of your current state. Are you, in a really unstructured environment right now where everybody's pulling data and trying to understand what's happening? Do you have some structure where maybe the data is coming into a single place and then there's some kind of standardized reports? That's good. Or, are you moving towards this environment where you have a tabular model that is business readable, that has measures and dimensions that can be easily, queried and reports can be built from it, and you can do ad hoc analysis. So we'd love to meet with you and evaluate and discuss. and we can help you identify, where the high value opportunities in your business. You may already know, as we've been talking, you may be thinking about those decisions that you struggle with today, and we can dive right into those and help to charter your path, towards designing and implementing, the environment that you need in order to run your business. So you're welcome to reach out to me. Also, I'll be in the chat after the session here. So I hope that you do that. I hope that we can connect and have a great Aspire 23. Thanks so much.